Hello, everyone. Coming up here on the SmackDown Ring Report. We finally know the favorite. We're going to talk about CM Punk made a very special appearance on SmackDown and talk about the favorite he had enlisted with him, Paul Heyman, and Roman Reigns. What was that favor? We kind of knew coming up. We'll tell you about it coming up a little bit later on the show. Also, too, on SmackDown, on the title, on the thumbnail, you may have saw Ray Phoenix makes his debut on the brand. Ray Phoenix comes to WWE and makes a splash on WWE coming up, as well as B-Fab taking on Naomi one-on-one in women's action. And Braun Strowman take on Jacob Fatu, the Savage. Which one of these two men will earn themselves a right to meet LA Knight for the U.S. title at WrestleMania? But they got to do it in a last man standing match. We'll also get to these details as well right here with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. What's going on with that situation? Kevin Owens facing undisclosed. And two, we'll talk about this as well. Charlotte Flair, she was out and about Charlotte, her confrontation with Tiffany Stratton. We'll take a little bit deeper inside. We know Charlotte, appearing on the Sheriff Shepherd show that Tiffany Stratton had made mention. We get the pro wrestling show started right here, right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host, as always, Kitty Dix here. Glad you can join us here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Join in the conversation. Use the hashtag Pro Wrestling. Connect and our additional platforms as well. Don't forget to use the hashtag Pro Wrestling and hit that subscribe button for the show. Let's not waste no time whatsoever. Let's get things started with you know what. We kick things off with CM Punk and Paul Heyman. CM Punk came out there in that rowdy Chicago crowd. That Chicago crowd is so loud and rowdy. They are so energetic to be in WWE, and they always get that crowd pumping. CM Punk coming out there to get a warm reception, a hometown reception. But Paul Heyman wants to know and has to know what is the favor that CM Punk won't. He getting the main event at WrestleMania. CM Punk is doing that. He's getting his first main event, WrestleMania, being a WrestleMania main event. Someone said that this is right here. This is checklist right here. The Rumble, the Chamber, TV virtually every week, numerous live events across Europe. Give me matches left and right, center. Russell Gunther for the world title. He doesn't have to go this hard at this stage of his career, but the fact is he still pushing himself. It's incredible, and it is incredible. CM Punk did not make mention of what the favor is between him and Paul Heyman. Heyman thinking that wants to be in WrestleMania as the favor. CM Punk saying that ain't enough. So we kind of allude to what could it be, but we'll get to it a little bit later on in the show on what that favor could be. Well, Naomi getting herself ready, wearing the caution warning. She's looking a new look, a new attitude. Naomi set to go against B-Fab. Naomi did go against B-Fab, and Naomi had a no disqualification from B-Fab until Jade Cargill came out there, and Jade Cargill wanted to get her hands on Naomi. All the SmackDown general manager made it clear tonight that Jade will get her hands on Naomi, but they will do it at WrestleMania. So Naomi and Jade will finally meet at WrestleMania one-on-one. These two women have been clashing since the Elimination Chamber of last month. And what went down, Naomi ready to get her claws on Jade. Jade ready to get her claws on Naomi. This is going to be a phenomenal match. I can tell you that at WrestleMania between these two women. They're going to really put their hands on each other. And they're going to let the feathers fly. I'm telling you right now at WrestleMania. Well, we get to the debut of Ray Phoenix. Ray Phoenix makes his debut on the Blue brand. Ray Phoenix, the brother of Penta. Ray Phoenix win against Nathan Frazier. And what better opponent, Ray Phoenix, go against Nathan Frazier to get the win. But Ray Phoenix won his first match on SmackDown. not being around AEW no more. Ray Phoenix getting the standing ovation that he deserved. And Ray Phoenix won that right on SmackDown. Ray Phoenix getting the win. So Ray Phoenix, what's next for him? We know what's next for Ray Phoenix. Ray Phoenix could be going against this man Broto, as Santos Escobar wants Broto and what's his name to step up or what? They're gonna step up next week. Berto will go against Ray Phoenix next week. So we'll get to see that match next week on SmackDown. Ray Phoenix goes against Berto next week on SmackDown. It's gonna happen one on one. These two luchadors, these two high flyers go one on one. Ray Phoenix versus Berto next week. Looking forward to seeing that as well. So Ray Phoenix, he got a segment with Brian Saxton and stuff as well. Well, Paul Heyman's still a little bit anxious and nervous. He thought that Roman Reigns was coming out, but it wasn't Roman Reigns. Heyman got a surprise about Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins wanted to know what was going on. He wanted to be privy into this secret as well. And we saw that. We're gonna see Paul Heyman looking a shell of himself. He don't even know what went down, but Heyman kind of a little bit shooken a little bit on what went down, and after CM Punk didn't tell him what the answer was, and Paul did say yes during the interview. So Paul Heyman kind of didn't should have had went into it a little bit more detail before he even jumped to conclusion. But that's Paul Heyman for you with the thick of things. So hey, we'll tell you that a little bit. Also, too, Nick Aldis, the general manager, also announced that next week there will be a women's gauntlet match between these women. Which one of these women will get a gauntlet match to get themselves a number one contenders match against the women's tag team champions at WrestleMania? We'll get to see that. I'm thinking gonna be Bayley and Lyle. That's what I'm thinking, like Bayley and Lyle next week on SmackDown. So looking forward to seeing that as well. Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. No love lost between these two men. Drew McIntyre wearing one eye patch. I don't know why he's wearing an eye patch. Drew McIntyre wearing the eye patch. He wants to get his hands on Damian Priest real bad, and Damian feels the same way. He want to get his hands on Drew. So Damian Drew next week will have a face to face that will be coming your way next week on SmackDown. Face to face between these two men that will battle at WrestleMania one on one. This started at last year's WrestleMania when Damian cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase over Drew. Now they're going to be um, having the face to face next week. Well, speaking of face to face, Randy Orton was scheduled to have a face to face with Kevin Owens, but Kevin Owens really did not tell what his undisclosed injury. Kevin Owens said he won't be at WrestleMania due to an undisclosed injury. And he was wearing Bret Hart pink and black stuff attire, so he didn't let nobody know. I think Randy Orton got frustrated, and you know how Randy Orton is. He gets frustrated as well. Randy Orton took his frustrations out on the general manager, Nick Aldis, and dropped Nick Aldis like a bad habit, and did so tonight. Nick Aldis did not know what to expect. If we can find it right quick, Randy Orton thought that Nick Aldis was going to do the right thing, and Nick Aldis uh, took the effects of the RKO, and Nick Aldis probably won't be worried about that. I could probably see Randy Orton and Nick Aldis have a match one on one, and Randy Orton gonna get Nick Aldis gonna get tired of being RKO and want to do something about it. This might be Randy Orton's fuse gateway ticket to doing what he need to do to Nick Aldis. Well, we saw that as well as Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. These two women can't stand each other. Charlotte Flair will be challenging Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania for the women's championship. Charlotte Flair wants to be the women's champion once again. Wants to relive that moment. However, she wants to relive it and stuff. That she's gonna do so next week. So we'll see how that's gonna go for Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. That's gonna happen next week. We were supposed to show you a tape, but unfortunately we're not gonna have that much time. But we know Charlotte talked about on Sherry Shepherd about her divorce, her trying to make her return at the Royal Rumble and trying to do the healing process and stuff. So hey, we saw how that went down. Speaking of that, LA Knight was in action. LA Knight, the United States champion, was in action. LA Knight, looking forward to his match. He won his match tonight. I forgot who LA Knight went against, but LA Knight was awaiting to see who was going to challenge him for the U.S. Championship. And we found out who was going to be. It's going to be Jacob Fatu, the Savage. Jacob Fatu earns himself a United States Championship match. Jacob Fatu could be the next U.S. champion. Look at all these pictures right here by this Savage. Jacob Fatu wants to be U.S. champion, and he might be damn way on his way to be the United States champion if he continued to act savagery. Jacob Fatu defeated Braun Strowman and defeated Braun Strowman tonight to get the victory that he so richly reserved. But he'll get a U.S. championship match at WrestleMania 1-on-1. Speaking of that, the Street Profits. Looking forward to seeing who they're going to be challenging. The Street Profits will go against DIY for the WWE Tag Team Championships. I don't know why the Profits even came out there. Is they heels, they baby faces? We don't know. But now we know the Street Profits will defend the tag team titles against the former tag team champions, the Motor City Machine Guns. It's going to be a good match to see coming up as well. Well, it was time, the moment of truth. What was CM Punk's favorite was going to be? What is the favor that CM Punk had in store? Had in Punk for Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. CM Punk trying to do the same thing. I think Paul Heyman don't like to go through this stuff with Roman Reigns and stuff. He went through it a couple of years ago and Roman had to kick him out and then brought him back in. And Paul Heyman did not know. CM Punk came out there to let Paul Heyman, let Roman Reigns know that, hey, Paul is going to be in my corner, not in your corner. And that was simply it. Everybody kind of knew what was the point. Everybody kind of figured it out as it went. CM Punk even went far as to give Roman Reigns the GTS to go to sleep, taking Roman out of his misery. And that left CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins left, but it's kind of like a disarray. Now we know that Paul Heyman will be in the corner of Roman, will be in the corner of CM Punk rather than Roman Reigns. CM Punk wants to know if Roman can swim with the fishes without Heyman. He do without Paul Heyman or what? So that's the question right there. It left the mystery unannounced and unattended. I'll tell you that. Well, that's going to do it for the SmackDown Ring Report. We know that next week, WWE Champion Cody Rhodes returns to SmackDown. What will Cody Rhodes have to say? This upcoming championship match against John Cena. What that's going to lead to, we'll talk about it next week. Also, to a women's tag team gauntlet match. Which one of these women's tag teams will earn themselves a match against the Judgment Day's Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez at WrestleMania for the women's tag team titles? We'll see. Plus, Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre face to face. They'll go face to face, so we'll see that next week as well. Speaking of face to face, Ray Phoenix taking on Berto. Ray Phoenix versus Berto next week. We'll see that match in action next week as well. We have a lot of coverage here on SmackDown coming up. Well, that's going to do it for the Pro Wrestling Show presents the SmackDown Ring Report. We're going to leave you with this. we're gonna leave you with Roman Reigns taking the brunt of that GTS from CM Punk. As the CM Punk delivered the GTS after informing Roman that, hey, your Paul Heyman, your agent, your manager, your advocate won't be in your corner. He's gonna be in my corner. And that triple threat match that's gonna be at WrestleMania, gonna be main event night one. WrestleMania is Saturday. So we'll see that match coming to a head. So for me being Kendrick Dix, saying so long, thanks for watching the Pro Wrestling Show. We'll see you next week for the Raw Ring Report on this regular schedule immediately after Raw. See you later.